I bet you thought I wasn't going to do this. I bet you thought I forgot. Well, now we're here. We are set up. Podcast is ready to go, and I am super happy and I am super pumped, and I hope that you are as well. If you do not know, perhaps you need a reminder. My name is Brittany. I am a practicing witch. I am one of the owners of Winslow Naturals, which is a metaphysical company based out of North Texas. And we make a whole bunch of stuff. We make our own oils, we make sprays, we do a lot of offering candles, ritual candles, deity jewelry, you name it. And this has been a project, months, perhaps at least a year in the making, I think. The podcast, maybe. It's been an idea that we have floated back and forth, and we finally took the plunge. I'm finally taking the plunge and seeing how it goes. So I am super excited. At the time of this recording, the name is not set in stone. I have actually not been super happy with the podcast names that we have kind of floated back and forth. So hopefully it has a name by the time you're seeing this. I assume that we put it under some sort of name. So that will be interesting to see as this goes up, because I am undecided. But the thing about this podcast is it's going to be a little bit of everything. It is going to be a history of, I am admittedly pretty obsessed with the history of the craft, history of the persecution of the craft. We will talk a lot about definitions. We'll talk a lot about labels, how important they are, if they are at all. We will talk about some how-tos. So a lot of people ask me quite frequently how to XYZ, how to do a ritual using a candle, how to start shadow work, and never really had a great avenue to go about discussing that or talking about that. And so this is going to be a super cool way that we can do that, and a way that I'm able to get that information out to you in a concise, clear manner that you can listen to or watch at any time. You can go at your own pace. You don't have to try to find me live streaming anywhere. So I'm sure that will be helpful to some people. So didn't really know where I was going to start with this, because I think first episode you kind of want to barely step your toe into the water. You don't want to go super deep, and make sure that people are following you, right? So what I thought about starting with was, what is a witch? What is witchcraft? Those are two they're very easy questions to ask. They are not easy questions to answer because there is no definitive answer. There isn't. If someone tells you that there is a definitive answer on what makes a witch, they are either grossly misinformed or they are just plain lying. Sorry to say, they might be having you on a bit. A witch, the definition varies depending on who you're speaking with. Right? A lot of people in historical terms, a lot of people saw a witch as that old hag, right? The old hag with the gray or the green skin, hooked nose, wearing a pointy hat, possibly long black robes, long black dress, cackling, killing, eating children, potentially putting curses on the men to excuse infidelity and, religious persecution is essentially what that was. A lot of people only know, their only frame of real contemporary reference for what a witch is that mental image of Hermione Granger, that mental image of Piper Halliwell, the ones that I've looked up to and I looked up to growing up, but they are certainly not, perfect examples of an actual witch. They are characters. We do have to remember that those are fictionalized versions of the realities that we actually live. So, a witch is a complicated term. I do plan on going either in the next episode or the next, talking about various labels, what specific witches do, and how they identify themselves. Because a lot of us identify ourselves. Whether or not we stick wholly to those labels or not, we do still use them. And it will be very, very useful to at least know what the labels are. You do not have to go by any of them, but knowing what they are will help you to kind of navigate this magic world, and any sources like audio like this, or audio or video, or perhaps books. They will be easier to navigate. They will be easier to understand if you recognize terms. So we're going to talk about that. And then what I kind of wanted to go into, since this first episode is going to be a little bit not, it's not going to be the exact thing that I want, because each episode is going to be themed. So I thought maybe just to, dip our toes in the water, I wanted to go over this list by the author Judika Isles, and she has a list that she has called 13 Clues That You Might Be a Witch. Lists like this are always super funny. They used to be extremely popular on the internet, like AKA or circa like LiveJournal, or circa MySpace. MySpace, it was a big thing. But I think this list is super interesting. So we're going to go into it a little bit. I'm going to see what, I don't know. I'm going to see what my thoughts are. Okay, so 13 Clues You Might Be a Witch by Judika Isles. Witches come in all shapes, sizes, colors, and genders. Identification via wardrobe is unreliable. There are some true telltale clues, however. If any one or more of these statements applies to you, then you might be a witch, or at least have the option of heading down that road, so you choose. All right, let's go number 1. So number 1 is you are fascinated by the magical arts, the occult sciences, and or the hidden powers of Earth. So my interpretation on that, if you are fascinated by occult scientists, you are fascinated by energy, or what you would interpret as energy around you, I don't think that necessarily makes you a witch. I do believe it makes you sensitive. And sensitives do often make fantastic witches, but you don't have to be a witch if that applies. But if it applies, all right, there's point 1 for you. I want you guys to keep track, okay? As we go through 1 through 13, track how many, let's count up, how many actually apply to you? How many are actually pretty decent clues? All right, number 2, you perceive Earth as sacred, filled with mystery and worthy of awe. Earth is sacred. Nature is sacred. Even looking, so I can look out a window right now and I see trees, and they're not super green. It's not that time of year yet. But even looking at these half-dead trees, I can almost see it's just the wonder, the magic that is kind of exuding from them. And for me, that's a really big sign. So number 2, seeing Earth as sacred, filled with mystery, worthy of awe. I got that one. So I have number 1 and number 2. Let's keep track together. Number 3, you feel an affinity with wild weather, wild creatures, and Earth's wild places. So she's talking a lot about chaos magic is what she's referring to. Chaos magic is not easily tempered. It is just the inherent mess of it all. So do I feel an affinity with wild weather? Not necessarily like a tornado or anything, but the power of a hurricane. So I am very much water element with a little bit of that fire element energy. And so my water element reacts quite strongly and feels very connected to hurricane energy. When it rains really, really hard, I feel connected to that. So you may have the same kind of thing with rain. You might have the same kind of thing with tornadoes and air element. You might have that with earthquakes, earth element, and fire, wildfires. You might have that with fire. If you have it with all 4 elements, that's pretty cool. I don't actually think I feel that with, no, I don't think I feel that with any of the wild weather except for water-based. Wild creatures. So wild creatures, I absolutely love deer. Deer are my thing. And Earth's wild places. So the places that no one really goes, right? So it could even just be the corner of your backyard where there's a tree, or there's like a little quiet area that literally nobody else in the world has access to at that moment but you. That's what it could be. So any of those, I think that's a very interesting sign. So I'm going to check mark myself off number 3. Number 4 on this list, you perceive power, positive strength, and magic, maybe even the divine, in women. Women are naturally magical. Magic in and of itself is a very feminine feature. It just is. Like, there are people who identify as male, as masculine energies that do very well with magical energy. But if you feel it, if you look at it from just a historical standpoint, if you look at it but just from an energy, like a feeling-based perspective, women are magic. Women are that power. That power comes from the feminine, the divine feminine, right? So women are the ones who have the children. We grow the children, we birth the children, and our lines are the ones that go, like, we can do a straight line up and down that matriarchal line. Men, depending on your ancestors, right, might that line might not be so straightforward. But women to women, I 100% agree with the fact that perceiving power and strength and magic in women is 100% the correct thing to do, because it's accurate. I can't really explain it much more than that. It is just a feeling when you can think about the concept and the sheer magnitude of what being a woman actually means. Once you kind of wrap your head around that, you can't help but see that divine spark. I don't know how you couldn't see or feel that, you know? Okay, so number 4. I am 4 for 4 at the moment. Let's see how you guys are doing. Again, you do not have to agree or feel all of these. According to what she's saying with this list, if any one or more of these statements. So we'll go over that in a bit. So number 5, you can maintain a relationship with an individual of another species, such as a bird or an animal. Whether you define your opposing gender as another species is up to you. So she's not talking about if we see men, what is it? Women are from Venus, men are from Mars. We're not talking about men. We are talking about animals, specifically animals. I maintain my relationships very strongly with my cats, dog. I mean, I'm not a dog person, but I do have relationships with dogs. I have dogs and I love them very much. And like I said earlier, the deer they're lovely, and I don't have anything but kind of bubbly energy when I see them. It makes me so happy to see them, even though they stare like this. They stare so frightened. I think they've gotten enough used to us though, because they don't scatter off anymore, which is super awesome. All right, so 5, yep, I got that one. Number 6 is very short. By nature, you're nocturnal. I don't even have much to add about this one. I would 100% be nocturnal if it were possible in this day and age, with how, workflows go, with how we are supposed to live our lives in this very 9-to-5 centered world. You can't be nocturnal and be a 100% functioning present member of society. But if it were possible, yeah, I got that. All right, number 7. Darkness doesn't scare you, not consistently anyway. It's an interesting one to kind of think about because you can totally be scared of the dark, right? There have been times, I don't think I've always been scared of the dark, but there were definitely times in my life in which I was very scared of the dark, very concerned about what certain things might come out from under the bed, or grab my ankle or come get me as I run up the stairs when it's super dark at night. Darkness, in my opinion, in my experience, it doesn't scare me because now that I know, there are things that live in the dark. There are things that thrive in darkness. Just because they're in darkness doesn't mean that they are dark, if that makes sense. Just because they live and that's where they are able to function is in that darkness, in those very quiet spaces, doesn't mean that it's a bad thing or a scary thing. It shouldn't scare you. I understand that darkness is scary because, again, I felt that before. But no, it doesn't scare me. There are things that are there just because that's how they exist. That's okay. All right, 8. You have an independent nature. You like to make your own rules and you value your privacy and autonomy. I mean, I think that this describes certainly a majority of people, a majority of Americans anyway. You like to make your own rules. You value your privacy and autonomy. I think the autonomy thing and the privacy thing works on a scale. Some people prefer being more private. I have a huge thing about privacy and my autonomy. That is something that is extremely important to me. That is something that I will go to bat on. I will fight and struggle to make sure that I, retain that autonomy of my body, that autonomy of my own mind, and the privacy that I wish to have. That's very important to me. I believe that most people would like to make their own rules. If it were possible in every situation, we would love to make our own rules. So I agree with this one. Yeah, I don't have any issue with that one. Number 9, you possess curiosity and a thirst for knowledge. Curiosity isn't a word that's really in my vocabulary much because I don't feel like curiosity accurately explains people. I think you are either interested in whatever path of, thought process or knowledge that you're interested in, and you can want that knowledge, you can thirst for that knowledge. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just the fact that I don't feel like I don't think I've ever been curious. That might sound really crazy. I'm pretty sure it sounds pretty crazy. But that part doesn't describe me 100%. But a thirst for knowledge certainly does. You learn throughout your entire life, right? We should be learning new things practically every day. You learn things until you are gone. The day that you are no longer accepting new knowledge, accepting and learning new truths, you may as well throw in the towel Because at that point, you are not gaining anything. You're not getting anything out of life if you have stopped learning. It is what it is. Number 10 Number 10 is ancient stories, myths, legends, fairy tales enthrall you. I am extremely obsessed with mythology, with a lot of different types of mythologies. When I was a child, it was Egyptian mythology. As an adult now, many different ones. I have to know many different ones for my line of work. But like Greek mythology in particular is very popular, and it's a good one to know, because you don't understand how many references, how many strange like turns of phrase or like any sort of like words that we use nowadays reference or come from or derive from something in the Greek mythology, like the Greek pantheon. So yes, I am definitely enthralled by that. Any myths, legends, 100%. So I believe probably the people listening to this, I would say, let's go with 80. We're going to just come up with 80%. I think 80% probably agree with number 10. We have three more. So let's see what we can do. Number 11, you think the universe might hold undiscovered mysteries. Not everything can be explained by science. Not everything can be controlled by people. Yeah, not everything can be controlled by people. It shouldn't be. It's human nature for people to want to control, but everything can't be controlled. And yes, I 100% believe in science. Science is extremely important. It has been invaluable for us to learn about the world around us and the universe. We wouldn't know anything about anything if we didn't have science, right? We would be very limited creatures if science wasn't something that we are currently and always working for. You think the universe might hold undiscovered mysteries. I know it holds undiscovered mysteries. I don't think, or I might think anything. It does. There is not one being, there is not one physical being, somebody who is currently in a human body. There is not one of us who can tell you the answers to every unexplained mystery. There's nobody. There is divinity, there is source, there is God, whatever you want to call that energy. That energy knows. That's pretty much it. Even when we are in spirit, when we are out of human body, when we are the souls, that energy that we actually are, when we are not in body anymore, we still do not know all of the answers to every mystery, because we aren't the divine source. And that's okay. That is okay. We don't have to know everything. In fact, I don't want to know everything. I don't know, maybe I'm weird like that, I'm not sure, but I think it's boring. If you know everything, then again, the moment that you stop learning, the moment that you stop intaking and retaining new information, you may as well throw in the towel. What is left to do, honestly? All right, number 12, the mysteries of birth and death fascinate you. They don't fascinate me anymore like they used to, because now that I've been doing, now that I've been a practicing witch for so long and have received many visions and downloads in regards to birth and death, I don't have that strong fascination, that yearning for knowledge or what goes on during that, because I know pretty much what I wanted to know. But birth and death is still an absolutely, wonderful just a glorious experience. And it is something that we as humans are uniquely able to perceive. Lots of species, lots of things give birth, right? There are mammals that give birth, very similar to us. They do not have the capability of perceiving and understanding what the reality is of life. They don't understand how birth works. They don't understand how death works. Not in the same way, certainly. But yeah, if birth and death fascinate you, that is a pretty good indication. That's probably the only one of the 13 of these listed clues that I'm not sure 100% fits with me, right? The other ones feel pretty straightforward, and I immediately connect to that language. I don't know. 13. Okay, we're at the end of the list. Let's see. 13. You may consider yourself a witch, or sometimes suspect that you are one, or think you might like to be one. And number 13 is the most important. It's the most important. It is the thing that I can tell you over and over, and you won't really listen to it or hear it until you actually want to hear it. If the thought occurs to you, oh, am I being a witch? Am I a witch? Or you have that pull, that inclination to say or become someone who delves into the magical, you're a witch. If you have a thought process or you want to be one, the only thing that being a witch, being able to accept and use that label of witch, the only thing that is required in order to do that is acceptance and belief. You believe yourself to be that, therefore you are. There are no gates. There are no tests that you have to pass in order to become and develop into a practicing witch. There's no guidebook, unfortunately, but with help, with work, you will eventually get to where you want to be on your journey. So, of this list, the 13 clues that you might be a witch, I think 12 out of 13 of these were quite strong indicators for me. So I'm curious to see what you guys thought. Number 13 is obviously the most important. So if you consider yourself to be a witch, or you just want to be one, and you'll figure the rest out later, that's cool too. That's fine, right? You want to be a witch? Okay, cool. You're a witch. Now you're off to the races. The label witch is so funny because I resisted that label. For a very long time, I resisted that label just because it has such negative connotations. It had negative connotations in the past, and it continues to have them in the present. And the moment that I accepted who I was and what I was the moment that I began feeling more like myself. So I encourage you, if you identified or felt like any of that list pertained to you, if you felt or had the thought occurred to you that, oh, I've been interested in this, but I didn't realize that's what I was. If you want to call yourself a witch, here's your permission. You do not need my permission, but if you feel you need somebody to hold your hand and give you that okay, this is your okay. If you want to be a witch, if you want to call yourself a witch, by God, you're a witch. Period. This is a cool episode. Still not sure exactly how we're going to go about this, but I am going to do some very cool themed topic episodes. And I might be asking for some help or some requests or possibly for questions. Asking for questions actually might be the best thing. You guys can let me know what you think about that. But it's going to be a fun time. I really hope that you enjoyed this first episode. It was a bit clunky. I apologize. You're going to have to give me the wiggle room to get comfortable and figure out how we kind of go about this thing. But thank you for joining me. I appreciate it very much. Please subscribe so that you get notifications when a new episode goes live. Thank you. Have a blessed day. So mote it be.